Anyway, so hello and welcome to Business Brains, a platform I created to celebrate your business based on being an entrepreneur and business you are interested in terms of a matter of importance to you. In terms of my guest today, I met her in 2017. I temporarily moved into her team and worked together on a project. We were colleagues who became friends, and since this time have intermittently kept in touch. We recently made contact, and I'm proud to be her friend and happy to celebrate and discuss her entrepreneurial excellence and her new business, Yves London. Welcome, Donna Henry. How are you today?
Thank you, Val. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well indeed. Just been one of those days with gremlins in the system, but everything will be fine. Everything will be absolutely fine.
It's technology, isn't it?
This is it. Yeah, the power of technology. We can't live without it these days.
But we can't live with it.
Totally. So let's start with the fact that it's been absolutely ages since we last touched base. The last time we sort of really touched base prior to sort of more recently was all the way back in June 2020.
Oh my gosh, how do you remember? How do you remember such exact dates? Is it that long ago?
Yeah. Yes, it's about June 2020. People sort of come into my mind, and then I think to myself, oh, I haven't spoken to that person for a little while. And then this is the power of technology.
Yeah.
You look on your smartphone and you think, you know what, let's have a look at the last time I spoke to that person. And then you see the last message that either you sent or the person sent. And then with that being said, now that we are, we've sort of been chatting recently, I find out about this amazing business that you've created. So before we go into that, I just want to sort of, ask some questions if you wouldn't mind, and then hopefully you can sort of give me a bit more inspiration and others that might want to do the same as you, Donna, because I just absolutely admire you, and I really mean that. So let's start with, where did you grow up?
Thank you.
Pleasure. Let's start with.
So I grew up. Oh, there was a bit of a lag there, Val.
Yeah, where did you grow up and how did
Where did I grow up? So so it all began in good old Mother's Hospital, which is used to be in Clapton, Hackney. That's where I was born and brought up. I lived in London most of my life, specifically Hackney, and in and around locations in Hackney. So Shoreditch, Hoxton, London Fields was my kind of last stop before I ventured out into Redbridge about 16 years ago now. And I've been in Redbridge ever since.
Wow. Do you have many people in your family? You say you grew up, was it just yourself, brothers and sisters?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so I am the oldest of, I had to think there, 13. So I have 9 brothers and three sisters, sorry. Yes. 9 brothers and 3 sisters, and I'm the oldest of the 13. So my parents are both Jamaican, Jamaican born. I'm British born. And both my grandparents, maternal and paternal, are in Hackney. Well, not no more because they're deceased now. But yeah, so my whole sort of childhood and growing up was pretty much in Hackney area, and then I'll say the second half of my adult life has been in Redbridge.
Wow, actually, I didn't realise you had 13 siblings. Didn't know that.
Oh my God, 12 siblings, Val. How did you? Do you know what? That's something like a shocking fact that I always tell everyone, and I always put in there. Yes, we're one mum and dad, because they're still married, they're still together, they're still going. Yeah, I did lose one brother, but I still count him in. I lost that brother in 2001, but I still include him in the 9. So I've got 9 brothers. Yeah.
Oh, my sincere sympathies and condolences for that. In terms
Yeah,
of
thanks.
the fact that you're so entrepreneurial, where did that come from? So, tell me about your business and where did you come up with the idea? Where did you come up with the fact that you want to have your own business? Is that something hereditary?
I think it's hereditary. I think it's definitely from my mum. She's always been a hustler. Ever since I was a very young child, as I had the responsibility of looking after my siblings while she went out and hustled. She had the normal sort of like corporate 9 to 5, and on the weekend, her and my dad would go to the markets and set up stalls and sell all sorts of products and goods. And she did that for many years. Well, they both did that for many years, until they reached a point where they no longer needed to work for anyone and they started doing their own thing Monday to Sunday. And then eventually they bought a shop in Edmonton, which is now a sort of hair and beauty salon. So I think that sort of business sense definitely comes more from my mum rather than my dad. I think my dad was just dragged into it because he has to do it. He's my mum's husband. He has to do what she says. And even up until this day, my mum is very sort of business orientated. She's always hustling. She's very good with that sort of business sort of sense. So I think I've definitely picked it up from her.
Wow. Did you help out in the shop? And is the shop still open today, did you say?
Yeah, the shop's still open. The shop is still open. It was a long journey. So from the market and to so she did the markets first. So markets like, do you remember, Hackney Wick Market? Do you remember the Waste Market, Ridley Market? They used to do all those on the weekends. And then they ventured into North London, which was Edmonton, and they had like an in shop. I don't know if you know, like those indoor sort of shopping malls, and they
Yes.
had a little shop in there. They were there for a few years.
Yeah.
That went really well, and that helped them to sort of propel into purchasing the actual, brick and mortar shop in Edmonton, which is still there today. It's still running, and it's a hair and beauty salon.
That is
Even once my
amazing.
mum purchased it, actually, she went and trained as a qualified. She's a qualified hairdresser
Cool.
and masseur.
Wow. So what is the name of that business and whereabouts in Edmonton is it? Just in case, those that are listening might be
It's
interested.
yeah, it's on 4th Street. So it's on 4th Street in Edmonton. Oh, sorry, not 4th Street. It's because 4th Street's such a well-known road in Edmonton. It's on Town Road in Edmonton. It's called Blossoms. That's her name. That's her first name. So it's called Blossoms. It was previously called Wayne's Hair Salon, which is my brother that died. So some people might know it as Wayne's, but it's been Blossoms for I think the last few years.
Wow, what an amazing memory.
Yeah, and she specialises in European and Afro hair, so it's not just one, it's both, because that's what she's trained in.
Cool. Who knows? I might go there myself. I do remember you mentioned in the past about the business, but I just didn't think, especially with what happened with COVID and businesses shutting down, I didn't think it would be open now.
Mm.
Survived through COVID, or was it closed during
Well,
that time?
no, it survived. It was obviously closed during COVID, but like I said, my mum wears many hats. So she was doing things like, she was working from home. She had customers coming to her home. I probably shouldn't say that because we weren't allowed to go to each other's houses. But yeah, so she had ways of getting around it. Yeah. So and like I said, she's still got sort of other bits and bobs that she does on the side. So even though it was closed for that period, it's still there. And the thing is as well, that shop is she didn't rent it; it was purchased outright. So it's not it's owned. So it wasn't an issue.
I'm actually really feeling that lovely chilling of excitement that I didn't know this, and I've known you for 10 years, and I didn't
Yeah.
realize that specific element.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. So yeah.
that is
She's done
amazing.
really
What an
well. So I
amazing
think she's
lady.
definitely been the inspiration for a lot of us because it's not just me. I think all of us, my brothers and sisters, have this sort of entrepreneurial mindset where we just want our own thing. I just don't want to work for anyone, basically. So that's where it comes from as well. I just want to have my own thing. I want to leave something behind or something that I've created that I can say that is mine. No one done it, and and I grew it, and it's to where it's got to.
Excellent. So that leads us on nicely to your business. I mean, that was what I originally asked about, and I did sort of lead it on to your mum and where it came from, but more about your business. So when did it start? how is it going? What is it you do? And so on and so forth. Over to you, Donna. You'll be the best person to explain.
Okay, so it started. When did it? So well, I started learning how to do candles around. It was only last year, I think April 2023.
Yes.
I did a few theory courses and some sort of I was practicing myself, and then I went and did an actual practical course, a day course, to learn how to do candles. And then I went away and just started practicing. And let me just caveat that actually, because it was never a dream for me to sort of do candles or anything like that. I've always been into sort of like interior design, I've studied interior design.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So, but I still like anything to do with the home. And what happened was I was contracting. So I was contracting at Network Rail. I had already done that candles. I was just making them there here and there, weren't really paying attention to it. And then my contract came to an end in May last year. And the intention was I didn't want to go straight back into another contract role because I'm doing an MBA. The idea was I'm going to use this time to do an MBA and I'm not going to go back to, I'm not going to do another role until about September. I did not look at the MBA once. I ended up making more candles. So, and I don't know where it came from. It was just like, oh, I need to make more candles. I need to practice these candles. And I
Yeah.
just kept practicing and I was just giving them out to friends and people. And then like everyone was giving me really good feedback. I'm like, really? Are you sure? Like, do you really like them? And I was like, oh, wow. And then, I had encouragement, especially from my aunt, to
Yeah.
start selling them. But I just thought, no, I just didn't feel confident doing it. I thought I've got to be an expert first. So I did actually start a site. I think it was around late August, September. But it was a very basic site.
Yeah.
And I weren't really paying much attention to it. I wasn't really promoting it. I really didn't really know what my brand was. And I was just kind of getting into sort of trying to do my MBA. And I think at September times I was starting a new role. So I kind of left it. And then I think it was around October, November, maybe November, December times, I thought, oh, I need to pay attention to this because I get really good feedback and this could actually be something. And then I think it was something my friend said, my very good friend, Marisha, when she said to me, you've created a luxury product. She goes, this is better than Yankee candles and can match Joe Malone. I'm like, really? Like, are you serious? So that's when I started to take it seriously and I redone the website. I started to promote it more and just paid more attention to my packaging, just the whole thing. And then it's just kind of, it's still, I wouldn't say it hasn't allowed me to leave my role yet and just not work for anyone, but I think it will get there. Hopefully we'll get there. And it's been going okay. It's been going
Yes.
okay. So it's still under a year. It's still new. It's still in its infancy, and I still feel like I've got a lot to learn. Like there's other things I want to add to my product range and stuff like that. So, but the products I do make at the moment are scented candles, and I've recently added reed diffusers to the range as well. And I'm hoping to add soaps and green sprays probably within the next year.
Cool. So how many different kind of candles do you do?
What do you mean
Are there
scents?
sort of 10 different types, 20 different
So
types?
I use there's two different types of design, so vessels, so two different jars. I have a black sort of gloss jar, and then I have the white clear jar, two different sizes. But in terms of fragrances or
Yeah,
scents,
fragrances, yeah.
it's about 10 different scents.
Cool.
I'm always adding more. So at the moment, I think I've got a few more to add. But I think what's on there at the moment is about 10 different scents.
Does it take a long time for you to actually create them when you get your orders in?
Oh God, you know what? In the beginning, when I first started, because as you know, Val, I'm very, very impatient. I expect immediate results. It was taking me so long to make one candle, and I was just like, this just isn't worth it. It's just too time consuming. Now I literally can make one candle in 5 minutes,
One candle
so
in half?
it's pretty quick. In like 5 minutes. Well, I can make more than one
Wow.
candle in 5 minutes. Yeah. I think when I first started, it was probably something like taking me probably a couple of hours to do a candle because well, that's probably a slight exaggeration. Probably about an hour to do a candle, but I can literally do quite a lot in a short space of time. Um, yeah. So yeah. It's quite quick. But the thing is, it's not just the making. Because of the type of wax I use a coconut and rapeseed wax, which is different to most high-end luxury brands use paraffin, which is derived from petroleum or it's crude oil. Yeah. And it's a lot more toxic. And with paraffin wax, candles cure quicker. So the curing means it's ready. Once you light it, it's reached its sort of optimum performance in terms of scent throw and the burning and the way it smells and stuff like that. But with coconut and rapeseed wax and soy wax, it takes longer to cure. So you have to kind of leave it for at least a week for it to get that maximum sort of performance. To achieve maximum performance. Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of time it takes for you to sort of receive a order and then for the customer to actually get their delivery order. Have you got like a job lot there and potentially?
No, in the beginning I was doing it like that. In the beginning I was just kind of like, as they were coming in, I was making them, because obviously in the beginning I weren't really getting any orders. So I was just thinking, oh, and I was still kind of learning. I was like, oh, can I actually just leave them there? Is it okay? And obviously, as with anything, the more you do something, the more you learn, the more you research, the more you understand things. Now I pre-make them. So if someone orders something, I have it ready to go.
Wow.
And then I won't put it on the website until it's reached it's done its curing period.
Well, one thing I definitely remember you being a very fast learner. So so many hours in so many minutes, only you would be that person that would do that. I don't know many people do that and learn so quickly, and I mean that because I've worked with you alongside you. So
I it's the impatience that does it as well. I have to know. I just want to know.
That's a good thing. So coming back to when you were speaking, you mentioned you're doing an MBA. Is that relating to what you're doing at the moment, or what is it you're doing the MBA in?
Oh God, it's nothing related to candles. Oh, I suppose in a way, depends on how you look at it. It's a Master of Business Administration. So what that covers is entrepreneurial, marketing, project management, finance, all that sort of corporate world sort of stuff. So it's a degree. I think it's like a master's. Well, it's a master's, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It's a distance learning course. And the funny thing is, I actually took this out. I started this in 2022.
Okay.
Yes, and because of, I don't know if I was just a bit lazy or work, I just weren't really doing what I should be doing. It was only like the end of last year, and this year I started to really focus on it. And I think that's because the people that I'm doing it with, well, the university that I'm doing it with, I think it's Anglia Ruskin, the time that they give you quite a lot of time to complete it. So I think that's kind of been a disadvantage for me. If they said to me, you've only got 2 years, I probably would have done it quicker. But because I know I've got so much time, I've just taken long. But I do want to finish it by the end of, or I say this year, probably being a bit too ambitious considering where I am at. I would say March next year, I have to finish it and graduate.
I see. Do you think it's helping you based on the fact you're literally running the business alongside actually studying? Or is it a slight hindrance? Is it a bit much running a business? What do you think?
No, I think in lots of ways it has helped me because the MBA, what it does, it teaches you a lot of principles about business and it gives you strategies, and it also opens up your eyes and how to think and how to see things differently and how to sort of like step out and put yourself out there. So it definitely, I wouldn't say it's a hindrance. It's definitely benefited me with the candles. I think it's kind of a compliment actually. It actually complements it in a way because it makes you think of all the details of things that you wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have actually. I don't know, but it just gives you that sort of finer sort of refinement when you're doing something and how you think about it and how you kind of push it out there and stuff like that, because it's got a big segment on marketing, on business operations, on entrepreneurship, on strategies. So yeah, it's a very good course.
Well, we wish you well with that. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. And even without that, because you're currently running that business and you are selling products, so it speaks for itself, you know, but I can imagine it will only be a bonus to you. So what is the day in the life of you running the business? If somebody else wanted to get into the same line of work, you know, what's the day in the life of what to be expected?
Oh gosh, I think, okay, what's a typical day of me with my candle hat on is look, okay, so processing orders. We'll be processing orders. I think I do a lot of research. So I'm always researching like what's the current trend with different fragrances. I'm always looking at competitors, which I've tried to stop doing. Obviously, you do need to do that, but at the same time, I think one of the things about any sort of business as well, like in the day in the life of, um, is the promotion and just trying to bring awareness. It's managing my social pages, even though I don't post daily, but just being aware of like what content do I post this week, what sort of do I need to do any adverts? It's just that kind of pushing it out there and awareness. So that side of it. And then there's also just like I mentioned before, it's the orders, it's just getting the orders out and packaging and stuff like that. At the moment, I don't think my day in the life of a candle maker is too hectic at the moment. Um, yeah, and it just really entails of that though, just me doing a lot of sort of researching and seeing how I can always improve. I'm always trying to improve. Even though people might say it's great, to me it's not great. I want it to be Joe Malone great, actually better than Joe Malone. I want it to be Dick Teak great. I want it to be the greatest. So I'm always just striving for ways or looking for ways to make it better.
Cool. So it's not like a 9 to 5, basically. You could potentially do long hours some days, shorter hours other days.
Yeah. Yeah. It just depends on what's going on. Like if I have a lot of orders, then obviously that would take up my time. But like I said, because I have a system now where a lot of the candles I have them ready made, so it's just about getting them out to the customer. The other side of it is literally just all the social media pages and research and just practicing as well, different sort of like candles or decorations and stuff like that. Because at the moment there's a big trend on sort of like botanical candles and embellished candles. Um, is what I'm looking into at the moment. I'm not sure if I'm going to go down that route because I've read a lot of sort of bad press about it. But it's just that sort of like research and just being aware of what's going on and looking at competitors. I do that a lot.
The line is not clear at the moment, unfortunately. So the last couple of minutes didn't catch everything you were saying. But you mentioned something about a type of candle that is quite popular at the moment. Was it something? Well, I thought I heard botanical. Am I?
Yeah, they're botanical candles, so they use
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
dried plants. Dried plants in the candles, or they embellish it with like glitter, and they put that little sort of gemstones in there and stuff like that. I was looking at that, but I don't think that's really um the target market that I want to aim for. But I do like the botanical candles. But then I was saying, I have been reading a lot of kind of negative press about it. So I don't know if it's something that I do want to pursue, but I do like them.
So what's the negative press you've heard about those?
They can be quite flammable. So obviously when all those foreign objects interact, if they interact with the wick, it can extinguish a fire. So I don't want to be responsible for any of my products causing any sort of like incidents like that.
Well, that's amazing. That's good that you've got that care for your customer. That's quite important to you, actually,
Definitely.
Donna.
Of course it is important.
I
And
would
that's
never
the
have
thing
thought
about,
anything like that. I straight away think that anything that's sold, especially in this country, automatically the standards are fine. It's all been tested. You know, you never
and that's
explode
the
or.
thing now. Yeah, that's the thing. And that is what this has taught me as well. Because you know what? Prior to this, I wasn't really a candle lover. I had candles. The candles I did have was gifted to me. And I think it was because when I did have a candle many years ago, I just didn't like the way it was flaming. Like it was very flickering, it was just wild. And obviously I just thought, oh, that's just the nature of the candle. That's the characteristics of the candle. That's how it's supposed to do. And being in that wet rail, working in that wet rail, they're very sort of safety conscious. Everything is a risk. So I've become sort of very sort of like risk averse. Everything I see is like I can see the potential risk. But it wasn't until I sort of got to understand how candles work and what makes them perform safely, it's made me very sort of mindful about those sort of things. So if I had seen a botanical candle before, knowing all this, I probably would have just bought it and thought, oh, it's fine, light it and it's fine. But no, they can be quite dangerous and flammable, especially if they're not done properly. So you have to be wary of where you're getting your candles from as well, because a lot of people just go on YouTube and making candles and putting any wicks in it, not realizing if the wick's too big for the candle or too small, and then it can cause all sorts of problems.
Wow. You know what? That is intriguing. Never knew that.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
knew that.
So pay attention to your candle when you see it burn, and if it burns nicely, as long as it's not flaming and flickering. But sometimes it can shatter the glass. They might not use the right type of glass shatters because it gets too heated. Just those sort of things.
Let's just pause just for a second. The microphone, for some reason, I don't know if I'm crystal clear to you. You sound like you've got your hand over your mouth. Is there any shifting with your mobile phone? Is it how it was before? Does your phone need to be adjusted?
Oh, it's the same. Yeah, I've got my headset on.
Yeah, you got your headset on. Okay, cool. We'll carry on as we are.
And then, I've got a mic.
Yeah, that's better. I can hear you better now for some reason.
Oh, I've just moved the mic, the headset thing. Maybe it's that.
Isn't it funny?
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what, I know this isn't part of this. Technology, it really is. It's like it has its own personality sometimes. It's just so strange. They're going to try and make AI or whatever technology take over, but I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how on earth that is going to work, because you can rely more on humans than technology, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, that's just by the by. Just one little move. What I'm just trying to say is that one little move of the mouse and then of the mic, and then all of a sudden
the mouthpiece, and it's clearer.
Whereas we are humans, we just carry on talking. We stop talking, we cough, and we not, and we so on, and we're still fine. But with technology, you've always got to find yourself tweaking. Strange. Oh, it says your internet connection. There's a little message that's popped up. It's almost as though some gremlin of some sort somewhere who's probably listening to the conversation heard. I just had a message pop up a minute ago, and it says something like, something's wrong with your internet connection. Seriously, I actually saw a message sort of pop up about that.
Oh, wow.
Anywho, let's continue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I literally there's a message, because I can see your name on screen. I'm not too concerned about us having this bit of the conversation. I can always edit it out. But when I was saying about the technology, all of a sudden, this message sort of popped up, and it said, your internet connection is an issue, or something like that. And I have never seen that message in my life.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's resume back. As long as you're back and you're clear, then that is perfect. We should carry on. But you really did pique my interest when you mentioned about the safety factor, and it's fascinating to hear about that. And I am actually really impressed that you've got that concern for the customer, because straight away we buy candles, we think everything's tested, everything's fine. The amount of times I might have had my face quite close to it and so on and so forth, not realizing that anything could have happened.
No,
we can trust your candles, Donna. So that's
there's so much different things. I'll go with science. So my candles are all produced scientifically.
Perfect, Amondo. So coming back to you, your business and everything, the fact you're doing what you're doing, not everyone, wants to be an entrepreneur. I heard there's only about 6% of people in the country and probably in the world that are
actually want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's not. There's not a lot of people.
Okay.
There's not a lot of people. I do find these days, I think more and more people are trying to do their own thing. Maybe COVID had something to do with that. Maybe
I think that. I think, definitely the younger generation. I think a lot of them are going to be entrepreneurs or are entrepreneurs, and I think it's social media that's kind of helped to pave that way as well. It's kind of like they see what everyone else is doing, and now it just seems a lot easier to make money on, I don't want to say insignificant things, but it just seems like there's platforms out there for them to make money easier than what we had in our time. So, yeah.
So it's in your hands, basically. The world is your oyster, in other words.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, we didn't have access to a lot of these things that they do, like, the internet and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all this. There's a vast amount of information out there for anyone that wants to kind of go up that road to be an entrepreneur, and it can help you. Sometimes you don't even need a course; you just Google it.
Cool. That's what I was about to say, because I was going to go on to say, what challenges have you overcome in your business? Because there might be some people that don't necessarily want to sort of go through the route of, obviously you've got to go to school. Not everyone wants to go to university. People just want to start their business themselves without actually going into, like what you said before, you have to do the MBA and whatnot. So what challenges have you found?
Yeah, I definitely don't think you need to go to school to start your own business. Obviously, it helps in certain aspects. I think the challenges that I overcome, I think it depends on. Well, actually, it doesn't depend on the industry. Probably every entrepreneur probably face the same thing. I think one thing for me when I started was you get doubts. You just get doubts. Especially in the candle industry, it's very saturated, and it became very saturated during COVID, actually. So, and I think one thing that just weren't good for my growth is that it helped in a way, but I just kept trying to compare myself to competitors. And at times I used to tell myself, oh, it's just not worth it. What is the point? Like, there's too many of them. What am I bringing that's different to the table? Like, I can't compare. There's no point me pursuing this. And if it was, if it weren't for the feedback that I was getting, and my persistence and just determination to just keep going, I probably would have just stopped. So I think I think you just need a passion for it as well. I used to think that well, I probably still do, but I think, like, money is a driver. Obviously, it sort of drives you to sort of, like, you want to make a bit of money. But I think one of the most wholesome things that I like about this, I think what's more valuable than the money for me is the feedback. It literally just gives me an adrenaline. Like, when I get the feedback, like, damn, someone actually likes what I made. Like, it's just, you just feel so great. You just feel like, oh my God. So I feel like that's why in the beginning I was just giving them away, because I just liked the feedback. And it was just like, I was like, I need more of this. The feedback is great. And, like, people saying that, oh, it made them feel so relaxed. It's so nice. I can't believe you did this. And I was like, yeah. So I think the challenges were trying to compare myself to competitors, putting myself out there, and just being sort of confident with what I'm doing, and just to keep doing it. And just to keep going, really, and just pursue it.
In terms of what you said about the money, at the end of the day, there's only so much giving away that you can give away. And then you just sort of, giving yourself away at the end of the day, buying all the products and then getting people to test it, of course, because they become like, it's like marketing in a way. But we have to be paid ultimately. We have to live.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that's what we're all here for. None of us.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that forever.
Exactly. Yeah. How long you can do that for. So I'm sure people will appreciate.
Obviously. Yeah.
They'll pay for the quality that you're giving them, Donna, ultimately. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So I think that's where it depends.
Carry on, I'm hearing you. That's where it depends, and it stopped there. Can you hear me, Donna?
Oh, it cut out. Sorry. Oh gosh, no, it cut. I couldn't hear nothing. That's what I was saying about, that's where it depends on the industry in that aspect. Like, obviously, if you was in a different industry, you wouldn't just start giving out 3 things. But I think because of the candles, you want to test, like, oh, I need you to see how it burns.
Absolutely.
Can you smell it? And just give me all the feedback. So I think that's where it is, those nuances.
Exactly. So based on what you've learned, you've been doing this for, well, I know you've done it quite a short period of time. And there's 2 questions in one, really. Have you done any other businesses at all? Did you do anything else before this that kind of led you on to, making candles, that sort of helped you in any way? And also, would you think of mentoring someone to that end?
I haven't done anything that's kind of, I think the only thing that would be related is my interior design. I think because I see candles as part of interior design. It's like the details in interior design. But I haven't done any business before this that's kind of led me onto the candles. It just kind of like came to me. Like I said, it wasn't planned or anything. I always knew I wanted to do something, but when I did start it, it was just like, it literally just came to me out of thin air, Val. I don't know what caused it. I didn't recently just smell a candle and think, oh, I need to do candles. I don't know what it was. It was just like I saw something and I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn how to make a candle. And it just literally just grew from that.
So what advice would you give somebody else that had an idea to start something based on creating something?
I would say run with it. Just keep going with it. And one thing I learned is in the beginning as well, don't try and to be perfect at everything. If you've got a product range, focus on perfecting one product. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm going to do room sprays, I'm going to do reed diffusers, I'm going to do soaps, I'm going to make a body balm or cream. I was trying to do everything at once just because I wanted to compete with the competitors out there without even thinking about their growth, not realizing some of them have been doing it for years. They didn't just start out and offering the whole thing, So I think it's just perfecting that one product. And when you've excelled in that area, move on to your next thing and then extend your range. So that's what I think you need to sort of focus on.
Cool. Excellent advice. So have you thought about mentoring someone, or have you thought about creating a masterclass perhaps for somebody that might want to do what you're doing, and you can possibly help them start a similar business perhaps?
Yeah, it is something that's on the horizon. It is something I definitely want to do. I have thought about it a lot. Probably not this side of the year, more next year. The latter part of next year, it's something I want to start running classes and, showing how to make a candle, how to make a scented candle. So yeah, I definitely would mentor someone. I wouldn't mind mentoring someone.
Excellent. We definitely will look out for that when you decide to do the classes, even the masterclass.
Yeah, definitely.
So another thing on my mind is, I mean, if I told you that I think that, I would like you to write a book, what would you say, and how would you start? What would you include in the book, beginning, middle, and end? Because I think you're a very interesting person with a lot of sort of like an eclectic mix of different things that you've done in your life. So,
write a book on my life, or oh God. I'll probably start from the beginning then. It would just be from, I don't know, where would I start from? Probably, when was it interesting? I don't know, from childhood, I suppose, up until now. It's been a very interesting life. There's been moments of sadness, happiness, everything. Yeah, but I don't think I could write a book. But it's funny actually, because I did actually want to get into journalism.
oh wow.
I don't think yeah, well, I started it. I did journalism for about 6 months in 2001. And I was pretty much top of the class, but I couldn't pursue it because I was grieving at that time because it was the year my brother died, and it happened when I just started, and I just couldn't continue the class. I couldn't continue with the course. And at the time, I was like, I'll go back when I'm feeling a bit more okay, and I just never did. Life gets in the way, and you just end up taking different turns, or other things happen and you just do something else. Yeah, but it's one of those things I regret. Like, I always wondered, like, what if I did just pursue or went back and done the journalism course?
What would you have wanted that to lead to? And once again, this is something that I have known you for 10 years and I didn't know this. This is just this is an organic
yeah.
I didn't know this actually.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I wanted to do, well, the two things, you see, when I was younger, I was so sure that I was going to be doing, it was either be a lawyer or I was going to be in, yeah, you remember that one, or I was going to be in journalism. Yeah, so I wanted to be like a Trevor McDonald's. I wanted to do like reporting. I didn't want to be a news presenter as such. I wanted to be a reporter on I don't think I thought as deep as what sort of issues I wanted to report on, but I know I wanted to be in reporting or broadcasting. But yeah.
Wow. Who knows where, what you're doing right now, and the fact of having that thought sort of, being re-raised again in your mind in combination with your business right now, you never know, something might happen and you might just be that journalist, and not just a journalist, you'll be a journalist and more. Besides, you never know, Donna, you never know.
You just never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. I didn't think I'd be doing these candles. If you said to me like, well, probably a year and a half ago, oh, you're going to be making candles. Like, what? No, I'm not. Well, you just don't know.
Exactly. You can never tell.
Yeah.
So why should your customers buy from you? And, you know, in terms of repeat custom, why should they buy from you and keep coming back to you? What do you do differently from
because
out there?
They are absolutely the best candles. Well, what's differently is the wax that I use. It's the wax I use. I don't use toxic wax, and I cure them for longer. I think I give them proper love and attention and care. And what you'll find with a lot of high-end luxury brands is that when they do their candles, yeah, they're really nice and they smell nice. But what you might find with some of them, I'm not going to say all of them, some of them, is that they'll use a certain amount of fragrance oil. So when you get the candle and you smell it, you know, before lighting it, you get that cold throw. So the cold throw is a smell that you smell before it's even lit. And then when you light the candle, it smells nice. And then as it gets like not even halfway down the candle, the smell's gone. My candles will smell all the way to the bottom, and it burns cleaner as well because of the wax that I'm using. And you don't get those what they call tunneling. So, or so where the wax kind of builds up on the edge, it will burn cleanly to the bottom where you get a nice full melt pool. And they're quality, and I can produce the same scents to the same standard that you get from Jo Malone. Like my Purple Kisses is literally exactly the same as Jo Malone's Black Pomegranate. And I do a Seychelles scent, which is like the White Company's bestseller Seychelles, and it's exactly the same, but obviously less price. So my pricing point is a lot lower, but it's still a luxury candle.
Cool. Wow. Definitely a good marketer. It's enticing me. And by now, slap my wrist. I should have bought some products by now. Don't worry, I will be.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I shall be. No, not just for the sake of it. I definitely need some actually as well.
Oh, and another thing I want to point out, actually, I have now recently added this loyalty reward program to my customers. So whenever you buy a candle or you share it or you refer someone, you get points. So eventually you'll get a free candle or a discounted candle. Yeah.
Of their choice. So they basically just get
of their choice, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's definitely incentivized me. So what is your mission statement?
Oh, do you know what? My mission statement. I just want to be recognized as one of the leading brands in the fragrance world when it comes to candles, reed diffusers, and eventually room sprays and soaps. I want to be recognized. So when people say, oh, who do you use? And they pick out the top names and they say, oh, is it Jo Malone? Is it Diptyque? Is it Trudhomme? Is it Bay? You know, is it that person? I want to include EVES London. I want to be in that category.
Cool.
So I want to be just recognized as one of the leading luxury brands. Obviously that takes time. I'm not expecting that to be overnight, but it's my goal that I'm working towards, where it's recognized in most households. You know, you go somewhere and like, oh, that's an EVES London candle.
Cool. That's an excellent name. It's an absolutely brilliant name. Where was that derived from?
So EVES is an abbreviation of my middle name, which is Yvette. And I did London pretty much because I'm from London. And I wanted it short, snappy, bit different and a bit unique. I didn't want to do my whole name, and I just thought EVES London, it just rolls off the tongue. EVES London. So yeah, and it kind of just stuck. And when I hear people say it, I actually get goosebumps when someone says, oh, I got your EVES London candle. It kind of gives me goosebumps.
It gives you a good feeling when they say that. It's something creative.
It gives me a good feeling, like, because people, so even like my friends, they will, like, if they order something, they're, oh, I just ordered a candle from EVES London, like, okay. It just sounds great.
Wow. Good on you, girl. So before we go into where we can order from, i.e. you're giving us your website and so on and so forth. In conclusion, you didn't realise, folks, that, you know, something I didn't mention, because I did say that I've known Donna for however many years, 10 years ago and whatnot, and we worked on a project together. I mean, in actual fact, I was picked to the post. I went for a position that I really wanted, and I realised that this person by the name of Donna Henry had got the position. Didn't know who this person was. And when I worked in the team, I just thought there was going to be some kind of like, you know, we were going to be at loggerheads with one another. But I was just absolutely just amazed that we just we formed an amazing relationship that's lasted so long. And I just remembered something. There was something actually, Donna just did so well in the actual position that, you know, I'm going to say she got an accolade in we worked for a trust. We used to work together for a trust. I think it's either one of or the last trust in the country. I won't say the name. You guys can do your research on that one. But I actually found something you'll be pleased to know, Donna, and I am going to send it to you because it's got the details of the massive project that you worked on. I mean, it's a shame it hasn't got one of the picture and everything, but I've got, you know, an excerpt that I was going to send to you.
Oh!
Yeah, I found it. I thought, oh, I've got a little message again saying your internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
Oh.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you can, but
yeah I can hear you.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, you know, when we were having the problem zone, I think it might be my internet connection. So apologies for that. But anyway, just to sort of quickly say one liner, because we're going to come back to you. And it actually says on here, Donna has been appointed as the project lead and will be contacting managers and staff shortly ahead of the program starting in June. And this is literally, we are now in June 2024, and it was literally 10 years ago. And you could almost say it's 10 years to the day. And now look how far this amazing lady has come.
Oh, wow.
I'm so proud.
Mad. Where did you find that?
What I did, when we sort of like liaised, I was thinking, you know, I was remembering back to the time that you worked in the same, when we worked in the same organisation together. I'm still with that particular organisation as well at this moment. And basically, I thought, I mentioned, I remember you were in the newsletter and and then I was thinking, when was it have been? And I thought, well, we must have a copy of that somewhere. I remember I asked you, you said you had your copy, but you couldn't find it. So I basically just, you know, just done a search. And unfortunately, they changed the name because obviously this is 10 years ago. So let's say it was called news. It's called such and such and such and such and such news. You know, something changed. So of course they haven't got that. But luckily I sort of, because I remember I went for the position, you know, around about the same time. And I sort of did a screenshot when I realised that I was unsuccessful. And I thought, I wonder who did get it, kind of a thing. And then basically that's when I saw this. And it, you know, it said what you'd done. I was thinking, of course, it's going to go to you, of course. But yeah, so I will send you this. As I said, it's kind of like got your name in lights, and it does relate to a massive project.
Oh, brilliant.
So that being said, of course, you're going to be here 10 years later doing your own thing, inspiring the rest of us. But now over to you. Where can we get your handles? Give us, you know, all of the socials that you're on. Over to you, Donna.
So the first point would be the website, which is www.eveslondon.co.uk. So Yves is spelt with a Y, so it's YVES. On Instagram, I think my handle is @Yves London. I'm not really good on them handle things on Instagram. That is the name, @Yves London, and I'm on TikTok and Facebook. So they will all be the same name, and they're all linked, I believe. I need to double check that actually.
Cool. So everyone, you heard it from the person themselves. Just now go out there and purchase. With that being said, Donna, thank you ever so much for your time, and let's hope we can do this again soon. And more than likely, you're going to be selling a new product, or you're probably going to have a new business to talk about, knowing you.
Hopefully. Or it's expanded. That's what I want. I want expansion.
Yeah, you're going to rule the world, Donna, more than likely.